Mario wins 500. Mario's long climb hits its peak. Nazareth fans jubilant over Mario's big win. That's awesome. So, you're a kid, you're 14, you leave your native land and you sail to a place where they speak a strange language called English. And the ship passes the Statue of Liberty, that great symbol of hope. Thousands, maybe millions, have cheered when they pass that old gal. But you're 14, so you try not to cry, and you're semi-successful. So Tempus, as it has a habit of doing, fugits. You not only become an American citizen, but a famous American citizen. You have become a living legend in one of the cruelest and most exciting of all sports, auto racing. Tell me, can there ever be a better feeling for once 14-year-old boy who almost cried when he sailed past the Statue of Liberty? Says Mario, the feeling is hard to describe. I guess it's the greatest feeling a man could ever experience.
When I started rapping, one of my most favorite lyrics came from Public Enemy. Chuck D says, "I don't rhyme for the sake of riddling." So whenever I would rap, I would always try to make the words heavy, make them have impact, make them mean something. We're always gonna reach for the extremes in hip hop. So whenever someone says Andretti,
I'm Mario Andretti.
Use the same fuel as Mario Andretti.
I like Mario Andretti.
that means it's because he's the best.
Who's that sexy thing I see over there? That's me, sending in the mirror.
The same way a lot of rappers would use Jordan or Muhammad Ali, they may say Andretti because his name's synonymous with all things fast.
He did everything. NASCAR, IndyCars, Formula One.
He could get in anything and not only be fast, win.
I thank God every day that I woke up feeling this way. And I can't help loving myself. And I don't need nobody else. Nuh-uh. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna
You know, riding Mario Andretti was one of the most fun times I've ever had in my life. Being Mario, he tries to scare the crap out of you, which he does quite well.
wanna be me too.
Riding along with Mario Andretti, Lady Gaga.
I walk in like a timepiece. I go straight to VIP. I never pay for my drinks. My entourage behind me.
Holy
If Tom Brady walked into your front yard and said, hey, let's throw the football around a little bit, would you say no?
It was frighteningly exciting.
How often when I drive around do I pretend I'm Mario Andretti? More than I'd like to admit, right? Who doesn't? When you're driving around and the windows are down, the music's on, who are you? Mario Andretti.
If you got to drive like Andretti, you win. And you do it over and over and over again. And then when you're done, you go win some more. That name carries a lot of weight.
People talk about the summer of 1969, and what was really happening in pop culture at that time was it was this pinnacle of this era of man and machine, because we landed men on the moon that summer. And I think, you know, for your average person who could rip open a newspaper or turn on the TV, the biggest sporting event of that year was the 1969 Indy 500. And so the heroes of that, they were American heroes.
17 seconds and counting. Guidance internal. 15.
69 was such a great year.
12. 11. 10.
How far can we go?
We have ignition sequence start.
How fast can we get there?
5, 4, 3.
And who among us are willing to do it?
Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff 49 minutes past the hour.
Looking good, Charlie.
Memorial Day in Indianapolis, and 33 brave men ready to try to win it all. On the first row, a most interesting combination. On the pole, fastest qualifying speed, A.J. Foyt. He's won the race 3 times.
We knew A.J. Foyt, but I didn't know Mario Andretti. Not yet.
Stand by for the start at Indianapolis. This is it. Mario Andretti instantly diving for that corner, and he's got Foyt in the first turn.
Race car drivers and astronauts, they're very similar in a lot of ways. They are focused. They are driven. He feels in his own mind he's invincible. He knows that he can do the job and do it real well. That's what's called having the right stuff.
Houston, Apollo 10, over. Go ahead.
On Apollo 10, we set the all-time world speed record, which was 24,791 miles an hour. If you want to get scientific, it's 0.0037% of the speed of light. We were flat hauling the mayor.
Leading the Atlanta Classic, and A.J. Foyt won the pole position yesterday for the Indy 500 with something like 170 miles an hour average. Over. Wow. Hey, that's dangerous work, babe. That's too fast.
Fast and faster. Space Center, Houston. When you told the race car driver A.J. Foyt won the pole position in the Indy 500 with something like 170 miles per hour, Apollo 10 astronaut John W. Young said, "Wow. Hey, that's dangerous work, babe. That's too fast." Apollo 10 was traveling at 4,430 miles an hour at the time. Pedal to the metal, man. That's the only thing we know. Come on down here. This little car, which represents my Indy winner, was a mascot for astronaut Kevin Ford in space. And then he sent us a photo when he had this, and it almost showed like it was outside of the window of the capsule. This is the fastest this car has ever gone, probably 17,500 miles an hour. Looks the part. All right, well, this is one of my famous speeding tickets. Actually, I was not driving. The driver was Vince Granatelli. Anyway, he gets pulled over, and the officer comes over and says, "Who do you think you are, Mario Andretti?" Right here, as you can see, there's 4 of us, Jeff, Michael, and John, nephew John. And it's the only time that 4 members of the same family competed at the Indianapolis 500. And and this was the day. We did that 2 years, 1991, 1992, you know, so very proud of that, of course. All right, we get a little bit of action here.
Here's the checkered flag for Mario Andretti, winner of the 1969 500-mile race. Mario Andretti standing now, the wreath being placed around his neck. Our 500 Festival Queen this year is moving in now for the traditional kiss of Mario Andretti, the winner. But Andy Granatelli gives the first kiss to Mario here today, and he's going to get that drink of milk. Mario, you have won the Indianapolis 500. You've won it like a champion in every respect. What thoughts are going through your mind now in the moments after victory?
Jim, just thoughts of happiness, believe me. been wanting to win this race so bad that you can't believe it, and I still can't believe it's true. I'm gonna have to be pinching myself all night until tomorrow.
Mrs. Andretti, can you put it in words at all?
No, no way. I can't believe it yet. We're just very, very happy.
Dan Andretti carefully autographed a stranger's program after the Indianapolis 500. You can tell I'm new at this, so I'll do it slowly, she said. The 27-year-old wife of winner Mario Andretti should become adept at signing autographs in the next year because her husband, always a favorite among auto racing fans, is suddenly a household name.
It was a pleasure to meet you. I'm listening to you.
Winning Indy 500 does change your life in a very positive way. This event has such a far reach.
Watch the signals and let me know you get them.
Okay.
We'll make your pit stops count, in and out fast.
Everything's going to be fast here today, Mac. Here we go.
First time I heard the word Indianapolis was actually in Italy. The movie was To Please a Lady with Clark Gable, Barbara Sandwich. It was about a driver going through the ranks to reach Indianapolis.
Mike, I've never seen anything like this. It's terrific. It's like the 4th of July and a heavyweight fight and the World Series all rolled into one.
That captured my imagination. And that became my favorite movie of all time.
The crowd beginning to pay its tribute to Andretti. The young man who came to this country at the age of 14 as an immigrant from Italy. This was the one he wanted more than anything else in the world. And here it comes, Mario.
Bit of destiny for sure, for me. Tells you everything.
I've been friends with Marco Andretti and the Andretti family over 10 years, man. Marco has a famous father, Michael Andretti, and he has a famous grandfather, Mario Andretti. It must be hard to grow up in a family like that. Not necessarily hard, it's just a lot of pressure that you're born into, that you expectations that you have to live up to. Marco seems to carry it well. Oh, I've heard many crazy stories from Marco about growing up in this household. Some of them I probably can't mention because being a friend and hearing Andretti stories, you have to keep those to yourself until the death.
Mom normally seasons the steak, so I'm trying. The only ingredient that I'm not passing on is the MSG. Sometimes we'll, like even at the races, I'll come to the races and we'll be together. But yeah, it is hard to get everybody together. Dad, you have mesquite over there, right?
What?
You have mesquite wood, right?
I have some chips downstairs.
I think you should get them. Maybe we get along best when we're not all so close together.
We have ignition.
Dad can grill, but I don't think he can. I don't think he knows how to use a toaster or anything like that.
It's not easy.
His steaks are pretty good. he knows what he's doing.
Everybody, manja! Time to eat. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Come, come, come. It's buffet style. I'll get Uncle Aldo's. Oh, my God. It's when my mom was happiest, when we were all together, so I hope to continue to be the glue. We all keep cooking. That brings everybody together. It's all about the food and the wine and the laughter.
Okay. Everybody ready? Yes. Let's bow our heads. Father, we're coping with an empty seat at our table. Please be with Deanne, who we miss. We trust in your timing, and we accept the new role you have given her in heaven. Deanne Hoke wed in Nazareth Rites. Deanne Beverly Hoke, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Earl Hoke, became the bride of Mario Andretti, son of Mr. and Mrs. Elvisa Andretti. The bride, a graduate of Nazareth. Her husband is a foreman at the Delwick Manufacturing Company. a big deal. Happy couple for sure.
When Mario first started racing, we never really knew if he would make it. He had the talent, that was for sure, and he had the drive. We had to sacrifice an awful lot in the beginning for him to get started. It was a whole family project, actually. I never really knew if he'd make it, but of course you stand there behind your husband, and we couldn't have been happier when things did turn out right.
The feeling of winning, what is that like?
It's new every time. It's brand new. It's something that you never get used to. You never really grow complacent about it. To win a race, just like making love, it's just like the first time every time.
That ought to get a lot of people into racing.
I got my way to keep me pumping, just like Getty. He's the same fuel as Mario Andretti.
National champion Mario Andretti all but walked away with the Big D feature.
It isn't just that he's the living embodiment of the American dream.
Victory Lane at Sebring. Mario Andretti visits the winner's circle.
Trying to speak English yet, Mario?
It wasn't just that happened during the golden age of cars.
America's premier ace, Mario Andretti.
Mario Andretti. Mario Andretti takes the flag.
Or that it happened during the first era of big-time television.
So come into the Schaefer Circle.
I think what it is that this is a man who proved that he could go out on any given day in any kind of car, on any kind of racing circuit, and win.
Well, these are a bit nostalgic. Mario Andretti to retire following '94 season. Andretti nearing final white flag. Arrivederci, Mario. Andretti makes final run Sunday. Final. All right. Gotta show you. Well, my last ride was back in 1994 at Laguna Seca. Of course, my last season, the last race, and they let me have this so I can do some donuts on the driveway when I feel like it. My entire life, I lived on adrenaline. I said, is there life after racing a car for me? I had all these big questions in my mind, and by now I found out that there is a life after that. I don't think that I could enjoy this type of serenity anywhere else. Of course, I love wine. Wine is good for the soul, it's good for the body. I always say, a meal without wine is like a day without sunshine. There you have it. Says everything. As a kid, I remember my dad had these huge barrels just in the basement of our home. It was a spigot. I used to hold a finger, in the funnel, and just want to drink out of the funnel. And my brother and I were just about 4 or 5. And one time we tried to do the same thing, and we both got drunk and fell asleep at the bottom of the steps in the cellar. And my mother looked for us all over the place, and here we were asleep, just with a hangover about 4 years of age. Good wine. I came across this land here in the late 90s, about 1996, 53 acres. All the permits for a winery were in place. Then the winery from the ground up was built, what we're enjoying today. The tasting room, everything else that's there is relatively new, even though it looks like it's been here for 200 years, which was the original idea. Make it look like it's been in Tuscany for 200 years. Even they built in the roof leaks. I don't profess to be what I'm not, and now I'm made look important, like, I know what I'm doing. All I'm trying to enjoy the ones that are sweet, and the ones that, and I can tell you one thing, in my own way, that we're about a week away from harvesting this vineyard, so that's what I know. For the rest of it, I'm just enjoying. Actually, I could say I'm enjoying something that I never knew we had back, when we left, Montana. I feel like I'm eating all the profits.
Losing it all teaches you that it's not over. The players in the streets used to tell me it ain't about to come up, it's about to come back. That's where you find character. I mean, look at me, I'm Ice-T. I come out of South Central Los Angeles. I'm an orphan, I was in the streets. But you gotta have a winning instinct and a winning want and a drive. I got hundreds of friends that came from the same place as me, but they don't hustle like me. They just don't hustle like me. Mario Andretti's the OG. When you say OG nowadays, you mean the original. Mario Andretti. That's the name. I'm good friends with Lewis Hamilton, and Lewis Hamilton is the man. You know what I'm saying? 5-time world champion. But he still understands who Mario Andretti is.
I'm following you.
I'm saying something. Wait a minute. Okay, my dear tourist, I'm the official guide right now, and I'm gonna take you for the path on the walls in Montana, where you'll be able to see my house. This is called La Loza. This is where all the problems of the world were always solved. My grandfather, actually, he was the leader for that. He was a perpetual voice. That's what he was called, La Voce Perpetua. Interesting. Right here was a very popular watering hole, and it belonged to my uncle, Uncle Piero. This was a great bakery. The smell of fresh bread every morning to die for. Right here.
Ladies act like gyms. Sit down. Indian styles. Recite these hymns. See, lyrically, I'm Mario Andretti on the Momo. Ludicrously speedy or infectious with the slow-mo. Heard me in the
We are at the starting line of my very first racetrack. This is where it all began. You had to just get a nice apex going in and negotiate. No brakes, so whatever speed was here was here. Man, do I remember this. 200-300 miles an hour, right around here. I thought Indy was easy compared to this. And we used to come right down here, and of course, we had no brakes, so this was our braking point, just going up the hill. And we collect a couple little old ladies now and then. We were always out of control, right from the beginning to the end. And I always say, if everything seems under control, you're not going fast enough. So there you go.
Suddenly, there was a crash. It looked like real disaster for Mario Andretti. Well, here it is again, Roger. Into the wall, the nose flew off completely, wheels off.
And you can see Mario jumping out almost before the car is stopped and running to the wall. A miracle that he could walk away from such a fantastic accident.
Here was Mario's reaction.
I feel fine, ready to go with the other car.
After my crash at Indy, just 2 days before qualifying, 1969, I had some burns on my face, and the traditional photo of the front row, I asked my twin brother Aldo to sit in for me because I had, my face was really pretty bad looking. And he did, and nobody asked a question. I think Indianapolis in a gift shop, they're still selling this photo. This is the entrance poorhouse. I mean, obviously, you can tell it's being neglected. It needs some work, but this is where Aldo, Anna Maria, and myself were born here in this house. Pronto. My dad used to administer seven farms. It was a total of 2,100 acres. And, you know, that was his job. And even from a young age, farming was not something that really turned me on, quite honestly. My brother and I we wanted a bicycle. Our birthday was coming up, and my dad didn't totally understand, you know, what our wishes were. And he thought that they'd really present a surprise for us. And Aldo and I never had two of anything, you know, as twins, we always had to share something. And so he gave us a horse. And he called it, had a beautiful horse, you know, it had a white, like a star on the forehead. He called it Stella. And I was never so disappointed in my life. You know, I wanted a bicycle. And so he got us the horse, and the horse became his, you know. So there it was. So we didn't really mesh with my dad's wishes, quite honestly. Come on in. This was a cistern. This is where we didn't have running water. Things have changed somewhat, but it was really manicured here. It was beautiful. It does need some work. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My grandparents had a beautiful little restaurant, and every Sunday, you know, we always to gather there, beautiful flowers, and everybody would sing and try to just have a good time. And you know, because we're talking about during the war. You know, the war was you know, already started when I was born, really. And the first part of my life, you know, until 1945, we knew of nothing but war. Can you imagine leaving your home, leaving everything that you've worked for your entire life, and something that you felt that your future was solid? All of a sudden you had to give it all up. I mean, that's traumatic under any circumstance. So here we are. It's a beautiful view, isn't it? See that, all that road there? That was still gravel road. That was not paved. All these roads that you would see were not paved when we left, by the time we left. I remember clearly the day we left. Each family was allotted a truck, and you could load everything that you could to that truck. And that's it. And then as kids, we had no idea where we were going, but we were leaving forever. For us, it was, okay, bye-bye, you know, like we'll never see this place again. Kids, I think, love adventure, and my sister was really a good one about that, you know. She was very creative, and she was one who would say, oh, wait till you see what we'll see. We go, yes, there we go, this and that. And then we wound up in a refugee camp. I said, well, that's great. They were just interesting times, that's all I can say. This is for a championship for Marco. And this is for an Indy win for Marco. I'll get one more.
I love Mario Andretti because it's the only time my dad would watch racing. See, my dad only watched sports that had Italians in them. He stopped watching the Yankees when DiMaggio left. He stopped boxing when Marciano and Graciano, they stopped. Nah, I'm through with this. I'm through with this. I said, Dad, the Indianapolis 500, I don't care about that. Dad, Mario Andretti. Andretti, what are you, Italian? Hey, Italian won the race. Look at that. Now, when you do the Tonight Show, you don't really meet Batman. You meet the guy who plays Batman, or the guy who plays Superman. When you meet Mario Andretti, you meet the guy who won the Indy 500, who won Formula One. You know, it was impressive.
That's it. My dad, every morning he would have an espresso and put just a touch of grappa, grappino, and he lived to be 90, so I recommend that. My dad was always looking for the odd jobs, and one of them was to try to get a job as an extra at this theater during the opera season. You know, they had several operas here, and they were always needed extras. And he and even my grandfather used to participate. And then when they would get some tickets for the peanut gallery there, that's how I was introduced to opera, and so it all started right here. I love opera. How can you not love opera? Bravo! When we arrived here in Lucca, here's what we found. Track with the turn, just like we had in Montona. Part of our learning process. The real thing really began right in this garage. Aldo and I used to just hang out here, and the owner sort of took a liking to us. One was Beppe Biagini and Sergio Seggiolini, and they taught us how to drive. There was a feeling here that people did not understand this influx of refugees. We felt, to some degree, like uninvited guests. I remember one instance where my mom and we were just walking behind. There was this lady who had 2 kids, and they were a bit rambunctious. And the lady says, if you don't stop, it says, I'll take you up to the camp and let those people eat you. So to that lady, we were cannibals. So not everybody thought we were cannibals, by the way. So basically from 1948 to 1955, this was home for us. This is when we arrived, after we left Montona. And there's a plaque here, actually, that officially this built. I love that. That's for my announcement. Midday. What do you know? Here's what it says. In ricordo del centro raccolta profughi, which is this, che ospitò oltre 1200 cittadini istriani, fiumani e dalmati costretti all'esodo delle loro terre nel secondo dopoguerra. Qui essi con dignità e silenzio patirono un duro esilio. Over 1,200 people is what was estimated. To me, it seemed like 5,000, but come on in. Just a little shrine that we have about special events that happen, you know, either in Montona or just nearby in Trieste, in Venice, Lucca. It just sort of brings it all together. This was the boat, Conte Biancamano. This is the boat that we came over with. And I'll show you, we have the tickets. That's a ticket, biglietto di passaggio, classe turistica. It was not first class, by the way. The 5 of us. I can't believe it, my dad saved all these and just happened to have it, so. This is a document that shows that my dad had to relinquish the land that he owned, the home and everything, to the Yugoslav government. And then supposedly there was going to be a compensation for that, which, you know, basically never arrived. But so this was it. And then from there, we just, we left, and then new life began. I didn't think it was going to be this messy, but basically this was the room, and there were like partitions by blankets, and there were 8 families here that, and we lived here in this room, coexisted for 4 years. It's hard to really believe that this was actually part of my life. It's hard to believe that even this happened, quite honestly. Luckily, we had a window, and this was our corner. This was corner here. I remember that my sister, you know, had a bed right next to an old man that, you know, was having his issues. Was a heavy smoker, so he was coughing a lot. So it wasn't very pleasant. But as you can imagine, you know, it's so many people living in just this, you know, pretty small. For my dad, I think he always felt that it was going to be okay. You know, in other words, you give up. He would never give up. I always say his glass was always half full, and that's something that I learned, you know, early on. And because of that, sooner or later, things just have a way of coming around if you keep working at it. I think in life you don't learn everything at once. It's little here, little there. It all comes together finally. You know, for us, could we have ever thought that what life was going to bring for us later on, as far as being able to realizing our most ambitious dreams and everything, coming from here, from this? Something gave us hope. Something gave us a zeal to just go for things. I give my parents full credit for that, quite honestly, because it's a fact. Andretti's never quit.
Of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will win the Daytona 500. Finally.
Dad was able to win it. It took him his whole career, and when he finally won it, he felt complete. Mario came in only his second try and won the biggest race in our sport.
There they go.
Stock car racing at that time, not very open to outsiders coming in, especially guys coming in and doing well. I don't know that everybody wanted to see him succeed.
The situation at Daytona continues to go in favor of Mario Andretti.
That's right. He's a little fella, too, only 5'4" and about 130 pounds. He's been manhandling this big 4,000-pound Ford Fairlane like it was a giant.
We've seen drivers jump in different types of cars and be fast. But do they jump in those cars and win the biggest events? He's the man. He's the man.
Mario Andretti ready to take the checkered flag, and there it is. He made it. Mario Andretti has won the 1967 Daytona 500.
Just stepped right in here with me. Well, if you look up there, I have some of the older helmets. Right there, that's the Indy winner. Right up until 1969, you know, I was still wearing open face helmets. So we were eating a lot of dirt, you know, no question about it. And, you know, a lot of marks on the face and, you know, broken teeth. Yeah, had plenty of that for sure. I have some suits here from the beginning. Like, look at this. You know, flimsy back in the 60s. This is World Championship. You know, things started looking, you know, pretty good. And this is current. This is what I use nowadays. Fastest seat in sports. Both our beginnings with Aldo and I were both very auspicious. You know, we both won, actually. So, no better way to start. Somehow we had to make an impression that we have done this before. We sent for these uniforms, you know, with all the zippers and everything. Zippers were the thing. That was the in thing. Zipper, 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 you know. And telling everybody that we raced in Italy, which is not true. And then I used to get back, you know, oh, I don't remember you racing in Ancona, you know. So well, I don't either, you know, because it didn't happen. You know, people may look at us as being immigrants, you know, we had some unsurmountable challenges, you know, but quite honestly, we used that to our advantage. Love it. Love it, love it. We're in the right car, by the way.
What makes Mario Andretti a great driver?
Gosh, I don't know if I'm the one that could ever answer that. It's just that the only thing that I know is I have a tremendous desire to win and just accomplish what I'm after, accomplish my goals.
What does it mean to be the world driving champion?
Well, it's one of the highest goals in my career. That's what it means. It's just the achievement that I'm after.
Voila! There's the racetrack. Here it comes. We're 14 years old, Aldo and I, and Beppe and Sergio, they said, we're taking you to Monza because this was it, you know, the Grand Prix, Italian Grand Prix, and you had Fangio, Moss, Maglioli, Ascari, Villoresi, and all of the top drivers on the planet were here.
Do you remember as a kid who was the first great driver you ever heard of? What you thought about what he must be like?
How do you picture as a kid your hero? Your hero is, you know, just right next to God, isn't he? He's almost an abstract.
Believe it or not, this is a racing license that belongs to Alberto Ascari, who was my absolute idol, the first idol I ever had in motorsports, and the one that probably shaped my life as a race driver. There was something really cool about this guy, and even the way he was portrayed by the press. He said he had ice in his veins. You know, he was so cold and calculated. And there's something about that actually really impressed me. But then you watch him in some of the videos, he's out there, you know, just really, raw, you know, and he had that aura about him that impressed me. So, what the guy. If you could just imagine the noise, the speed and the noise, and experiencing that for the very first time. I mean, after this, I mean, it was just not, you know, falling in love. I mean, after this, we just became possessed. I mean, the desire was not just desire, it was burning desire. From here on, there was no plan B, period. Here we go. Now, that's the sound.
Yesterday should have been one of the great days of Mario Andretti's life, the day he clinched the 1978 World Grand Prix Driving Championship. For Andretti, at the age of 38, the World Championship was a feat to measure up to his victory a decade ago in the Indianapolis 500. But Andretti's triumph was ruined by the flames that leaped into the air shortly after the start of the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, flames that consumed the Lotus of Andretti's teammate, Ronnie Peterson.
Right about here, that all happened at the very start of the 78 Grand Prix. When I heard it was Ronnie, I ran over here. I was told not to, but I did. And I wanted to see him, and it's not a pretty scene at all.
Peterson suffered severe burns and multiple leg fractures. This morning, as Mario Andretti woke up world champion, Ronnie Peterson died.
It should have been, you know, the happiest day of my career for sure, and we couldn't celebrate. We just couldn't.
31's the first driver to put any lap into 231. So forward trouble. Oh, what a crash!
There were times when I thought, yeah, I mean, I'm going to meet my creator now, but I was lucky, I guess. I always said there was no vacancy up there.
Mario, let me get this straight. This is all you have is a nick on the chin?
That's it.
You're a lucky boy.
Very lucky indeed, yeah. Why do I do it? Because I don't want to do anything else. Along the way, I lost a lot of friends, and I was always willing to take the risk myself. There was no time where I thought that I should stop because of that, but I felt I'm going to do it no matter what.
We interrupt our normal programming in order to bring you this special report from NBC News.
Good evening. Astronauts Virgil Grissom, Edward White, and Roger Chaffee have been killed in a flash fire during a rehearsal of the countdown and launch of the Apollo flight they were to have made on the 21st of next month. The accident occurred at Cape
Well, sure, it's a risk, and if you make a mistake, you can kill yourself, get killed. If you're scared, you shouldn't be there. You don't have the right stuff.
Many years ago, the great British explorer George Mallory, who was to die on Mount Everest, was asked why did he want to climb it. He said, because it is there.
Anything that is worth doing will usually be difficult to do.
Well, space is there, and we're going to climb it. Thank you.
How far can we go? How fast can we get there? And who among us are willing to do it?
We welcome you to Portland International Raceway in Oregon for today's 200 IndyCar race. And to all of you, a very happy Father's Day.
All right, now that I have Michael, let's talk about this one.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Now, I know you probably wouldn't admit it, but it was Father's Day. You didn't get me a present, so you let me win, right?
I know, that's what I was thinking off the last term. Like, I haven't got him presents, so I guess give him a win. That was such a bummer of a day.
Here comes Michael Andretti. He's in corner number 9, the final corner on the racetrack. The car is a little slow coming off the corner. He's out of fuel. Here comes the finish line. Who's going to win it?
It looks like Mario.
Unbelievable.
Mario, with the killer instinct, even though it was his son, stayed in the throttle as they came across the stripe. It was that close. Do you want to say anything to your dad right now on national television? Well, happy Father's Day, Dad. That's the story from Victory Lane, and it's all Andretti.
It's the closest IndyCar finish in history. 7/100ths of a second. Mario wins over Michael.
That was one of my most dominant races of my career, and I ended up not winning.
2 inches apart.
At the time, I didn't know who won until they told us.
I knew.
Yeah. I thought I won, but...
Okay, you're looking at me, I'm looking at you.
The entire Andretti family, Mario, his 2 sons, Michael and Jeff, and nephew John, now make their appearance at the head of Gasoline Alley and walk out into the pit area for the first time as the crowd welcomes them to Indy once again.
Jeff Andretti is most seriously injured driver. This was a tough one. It was 1992.
As the green flag flies on the 82nd lap of the Indianapolis 500. And look at, and another car, and that's Mario.
This involves Mario Andretti. You see him.
I had crashed just before him, actually. I was in the hospital. All of a sudden, news code 3, I think, was probably as serious as it gets.
Jeff Andretti catches the wall.
Now just violently.
Boy, Jeff. And once again, these safety crews who have worked far, far too much today are huddled around another car, and this time it belongs to Jeff Andretti.
They iced me up and they put me aside because, again, Jeff was critical. The sport can be very rewarding, but also very cruel, I've seen it all.
Well, you can see Jeff Andretti being loaded into the ambulance.
You know, the tough thing here, of course, is on Michael Andretti because...
One ray of sunshine, it was there. Michael was leading the race.
11 laps to go in the Indy 500, and Michael is slowing. Michael Andretti is slowing down on the 189th lap, and Michael appears to be done.
He drops out with 9 laps to go with a lap in the lead, so I don't think he won too many of those days, but we survived it.
Down the front stretch, it's a drag race. Marco Andretti, Hornish, who's going to win? At the stripe, it's Hornish wins.
Mario, what is it about the Andretti family? He's a 3rd generation, almost won in his first attempt. What is it about you guys?
We just love to drive. We love race cars. That's all it is. We're born to do that, I think. The one thing that I regret more than anything is that my dad never got to see this. Because it goes back to what he loved, what he understood, back to what his life was all about. And we felt that, oh gosh, here's my kid, somehow he's got some of the same appreciation finally, something that I understand. Actually, I could say I'm giving the Andretti family back something that was lost.
Do you remember as a kid who was the first great driver you ever heard of? What you thought about what he must be like?
How do you picture as a kid your hero? Your hero is, just right next to God, isn't he? It would be the impossible man to really have a conversation with. You keep him up here and he's almost an abstract. but it's real, really, because you feel my life would be full if I could just follow his footsteps.
Lo riconosce? Chi è? Lui. No, questo signore qua. È quello che lavorava qui.
Sì,
tanti anni fa.
Tanti anni fa.
Vieni.
Andretti.
C'è sempre.
Ciao, ciao.
Io buono.
Come va?
Sì.
Stai bene?
Sì, adesso vede. Lei è...
È il Guidi Lusano, il
Lusano.
mitico Guidi Lusano.
Sì,
Da lui,
lei...
da qui, no?
he used to live here. This gentleman used to live here.
Ti ricordi quando lavoravi qui con me?
Sono ricordo sì.
He asked me, said, you remember when you used to work here? Oh, bravo, bravo.
Sai quei carretti
He remembers when we used to come down here. So, it's true, you know, he remembers when we used to come down with the buggy. He said, se ti ricordi coi carretti quando veniva giù. Fai una bruciata, no?
Non è una Ferrari. Ciao.
Told him to do a burnout, he said, it's not a Ferrari, so. Oh, that's interesting.